Stephen, a former Marine, embarked on a journey along the Appalachian Trail to seek refuge from the turmoil of his past. He hoped that the isolation and natural beauty would provide him with the peace he had been searching for since leaving the service. With a heavy pack and a heavy heart, he set out into the dense forest, determined to clear his mind. The first few days were quiet, the solitude offering a welcome break from his hectic life. But as he ventured further into the wilderness, Stephen began to feel a subtle unease. It was as if the forest was holding its breath, watching him with unseen eyes. He tried to shake off the feeling, attributing it to the stress of the hike and his own haunted memories. On the fourth night, Stephen set up camp near an old, abandoned shelter he had come across on the trail. The shelter looked ancient, its wooden walls weathered and worn. As darkness fell, Stephen settled into his tent, but sleep eluded him. He heard faint, almost imperceptible whispers outside, as if the wind was carrying voices through the trees. Determined to uncover the source, Stephen stepped out with his flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing nothing but the shadowy outlines of the forest. He shrugged it off as the effects of exhaustion and returned to his tent. The next night, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They seemed to be calling his name. Anxiety gnawed at him, but he forced himself to stay calm. He ventured out again, but the forest remained eerily quiet. Just when he was about to turn back, he saw something, a shadowy figure darting between the trees. Stephen's military instincts kicked in, and he pursued the figure through the dense underbrush. The shadow moved swiftly, effortlessly weaving through the trees, always just out of reach. The forest seemed to close in on him, the darkness growing deeper with each step. Eventually, he came to a small clearing with an old decrepit cabin in the center. The structure was barely standing, its roof caved in and windows shattered. The whispers grew frantic as he approached, a cacophony of voices pleading for help. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, Stephen entered the cabin. Inside, the air was cold and musty. His flashlight revealed walls covered in strange symbols and scratched words, most of them barely legible. As he examined the room, he found an old journal on a rotting table. The pages were filled with frantic scribblings, detailing the experiences of someone trapped in the cabin, tormented by shadows and voices. The final entry was particularly unsettling, mentioning a Marine who had ventured into the woods and never returned. Stephen's heart raced. He turned to leave, but the door slammed shut behind him. The whispers turned into anguished cries, and shadowy figures began to materialize around him. He felt icy fingers brushing his skin, pulling him towards the dark corners of the cabin. Desperate, he fought to open the door, finally breaking free into the night, fled back to his campsite, packing his gear with trembling hands. The forest seemed alive with malevolent intent, the whispers and shadows pursuing him every step of the way. By dawn, Stephen reached the trailhead, his face pale and eyes wide with fear. He reported his experience to the park rangers, who listened with a grave expression. They told him that the area was known for strange occurrences, and that many hikers had reported similar experiences, often attributed to the restless spirits of those who had perished in the woods. Stephen never returned to the trail. Though he tried to move on with his life, the haunting memories of the Appalachian Trail stayed with him. He was forever troubled by the whispers and shadows that had chased him through the forest, a chilling reminder of the darkness that sometimes lies hidden in the most tranquil places.